I met a gypsy.
Yeah, and I think that the thing that really sucks in our sport, and I've spoke about it before, and I'd love to talk to Davey about it at some point, or like even Feld, but it's like that was the thing. So I was with JDR, and I was like, Jay Reinberg, still my best friend. Like, we still talk as every day almost, and they're like a wealthy family that got into the sport with these intentions of sticking around like every guy that comes into the sport. But it's like, all right, so it has to be this model where like every year there's this massive cash injection from a private enterprise, like their family, and then slowly that budget gets spent, and then the next year a massive cash injection, and then we're just fucking on the ride now doing it. And it's like, at some point, like, if you're a rich dude, right, you've made a lot of money in your life, you didn't make money by spending money with no return and like no way of recouping investment. And you can have these intentions, which is what these wealthy people, they come into the sport, and then they have these intentions of like, all right, well, we will be able to get sponsors, we've got this great plan. Like, dude, we invented the web series, like we were doing with the video side of things that was so far ahead of its time. And that was Jay's vision, like Jay bought into that vision, and we did do a lot of crazy shit. It wasn't enough. Like it was probably too ahead of its time. If we kept doing the YouTube thing and like before anybody else, maybe, you can turn it into like a revenue stream. But it's like, I remember having a conversation with Jay, and he's just like, how the fuck do you make money? What can we sell? What's the he's like, we just do this with our hands out and just hope, and they had like Jared Merrill, one of the most badass motherfuckers I've ever met to this day. You got the J-Star, dudes that come on board, and then, you rely on these absolute legends to come together and like fund this thing. But like, where's the revenue stream? And it's like, let them sell some t-shirts, man. Let them do some merch. Like, I know the kind of dollars that can be made with people that run successful merch. And it's like, okay, so to run the merch, you need to first be allowed to sell it at the races. But because MX Sports don't get their cut, or Feld don't get their cut, or they've got their wheels that they want to grease, that they're going to shut that down. And then it's like, how do we advertise our merch? Oh, well, you can't film at the races. You can't have your own cameraman come and and be there to advertise the product. So you just like, your fucking legs just get everywhere you go to try and make money. Your legs get cut out from underneath you. And it's just like, it's discouraging for people. Like, they just know there's literally no way for them to make money. And honestly, I think that the Deegans are going to come in and f it up, because you think Brian Deegan's not going to be fucking down to have his filmers film Supercross when they've got 1 million subscribers on their YouTube channel, and when they sell merch the way that they sell their merch, like, you think that that's going to fly? And that's the in my opinion, that has to change. And I'm a big free market guy, right? And in my head, I look at Feld, no bad blood. No, you know what I mean? I'm not like against anti-Feld or whatever. But it's like, I look at them and it's like, well, we want to sell our t-shirts. And I was like, okay, make cool fucking t-shirts that people want to buy. And if your t-shirts are cool, people will buy your t-shirts. But if a Cody Shock t-shirt's cooler and people like Cody Shock more, let them buy the Cody Shock t-shirt. Have a free market going.
Give him an opportunity,
exactly,
to make himself some money.
Yeah.
Let the fans dictate. And getting back, you mentioned J-Star. I know the family as well, and there again, they're enthusiastic. They're like, yeah, we want to sponsor motocross. We think it's a badass sport. We want to be involved. And then a lot of times, those kind of companies end up with a private team that may be over-promising and under budget, and it just always feels like after a couple of years, those sponsors like, it wasn't worth it. I didn't get what I was promised. My money didn't go into building the team. It went to, band-aiding some previous issues or problems, which is why I was saying, if the OEMs have more of a structure, I think that's one of the reasons why you've seen NASCAR still be so strong in this country is they have a team of people soliciting sponsors, and they have sponsors at all different levels, and they're like, well, I don't think we can afford NASCAR. And they're like, well, but you can afford to be on the side of my truck or the Xfinity car, which is a step below, and allow those people to get their feet wet, be in with a big structured organization that has PR people, has this. When you've got privateer teams trying to hire a team manager, hire a PR person, they're trying, but they're never going to do the same job as an OEM or a manufacturer that's got a whole big group behind it. So that's where I was trying to say, I think there's opportunities for other sponsors and companies to come in at different levels with and feel comfortable about spending their money. Not like, hey, I'm signing on some private team and some guy that's a businessman or some ex-racer, and it's, if you're a little uncomfortable, it's not a good start. And then secondly, like I said, more often than not, I think people get brought in and they get all these promises. Oh, dude, I'll hook you up with this. Your kid will get that, blah, blah, blah. Once the money comes in, someone else is going, maybe it's fell to someone, oh, this company's got money. Hey, why not? You don't want to be with that little privateer team that's going to give you, minimal advertising. You could be a series sponsor, an event. Come over here. We'll get you in the suite. We'll get you in the press box. Things like that do happen. And it just, like I said, leaves a bad taste in people's mouth, and you've got this revolving door. Yeah,
well, a great example of this, dude. So shout out to Chad, because Chad's been so ahead of this shit and so many times. Like Peter Adderton bought out the 360 fly camera. Obviously, he's the Boost guy. Him and Chad, lifelong relationship. Boost, sponsor of us, shout out. But Peter Adderton brings out this 360 camera. GoPro sponsored the series of Supercross.
Yeah.
So what happens? Chad can't run his 360 fly helmet, can't run logos. So there's a company that's just come in, like a big company. Like Peter Adderton ain't no fucking joke. And he's bought in this cash, bought in this new product to market, and then puts it on the helmet of one of the greatest riders of all time. Bang, shut down. And then Chad, CBD company, CBDMD comes along. And then there's some legal legislation that Feld then goes like, we can't do this, can't be shown on NBC, can't be done this, has to censor his shit. Who the is sponsoring Supercross a year later? CBDMD. And it's like over and over and over and over and over, and it's like the fucking same shit keeps happening, and it's like it's getting stifled at the top. And it's like, all right, guys, at some point you have to. It's like a rising tide floats all boats, and that's not the mentality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like these guys want to build a bigger ship. If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.